Welcome back to Flash Grodd War, Perfect Storm. When we last left off, Barry Allen had lost his powers, and he freed a little-known individual called Godspeed. I know you all like Godspeed, and this story is how he's re-entering the Flash mythos. When we last left off with the Flash, Grodd had arrived and stolen Barry Allen's powers. He was no longer the Flash of Central City. He even said it himself. It was now time for Wally to step up. But Barry wasn't exactly content not having powers. He felt that it was up to him to stop Grodd. And he went to one individual that he knew wouldn't have a problem handling things. Godspeed. As Barry begins to free August, back with Wally, he begins to beat into Rajin, asking, "Where did Multiplex take Iris West? Where?" Through Rajin's cracked mask, he laughs, stating, "We took her to a real safe place. We need the girl for bait, so we won't hurt her. Yet." Wally asks, "What does Grodd want? He already took Barry's speed." And Rajin begins to laugh, stating that Grodd knows Flash better than he knows himself. Stealing his speed is only the beginning of my master's rise to ultimate power. Meanwhile, over in the Heavy, Barry and August are sifting through more black hole files when Barry comes through the original schematics for Rajin's lightning wand. As he looks at it, he says that this is what they needed. They should be able to alter the wand enough so that they can steal back the Speed Force. August tells him, "Wait a second, that's why you broke me out? This isn't about stopping Black Hole, but rather getting your powers back?" Barry says that this is about doing what it takes to save Central City. "I need the Speed Force back." August takes off his mask, telling him, "You're starting to sound real familiar. You're starting to sound just like me. That sound of being obsessed, especially when it comes to the Speed Force, I killed for it. And yet, I was freed from Iron Heights. Why?" Barry tells him that he's seen what Grodd's done to the city. This is what will happen to the rest of the world if he doesn't get his powers back. That is why this wand needs to work. August leans in, telling him, "There are plenty of other tag-alongs that you could have asked for help. Why did you free me, Barry?" And Barry says it's because he knows Black Hole and their secrets. August tells him, "No. You just wanted your bad friend to give you a pass. You don't want my help, you want my permission. So when this is all over, you can blame all the hard choices on me." Barry sighs, telling him, "Grodd came to Central City because of me. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't stop him, and getting my powers back is my best bet to stop Grodd. If we can race past Grodd's army, you can get me close to the lightning rod, and then we can lock the Speed Force within me. It has to work." August says, "My guts are telling me that this was a mistake." And Barry says, "I broke you out because despite everything that we've been through, I still trust you. So now, can you trust me?" Across town, Mina leaves to go make the final calibrations for the lightning rod when she suddenly stops. She looks around for a moment and says, "You can show yourselves now." Both Kid Flash and Avery stop, and Mina tells them that they are brave to be entering the Lion's Den. "Now what do you want?" Avery says that they looked at her equipment at the Speed Force Training Center. That lightning rod is going to do more than just drain speedsters. It's going to kill everyone. Mina says that they're too young to understand. Grodd getting the Speed Force is a good thing. Kid Flash yells, "Grodd is messing with your head. You need to fight back. You're already doing it by not tracking us down." Mina begins to generate power from the negative Speed Force that she took out of Barry Allen, telling the two of them that she doesn't need their help. She's right where she belongs. The lightning shoots out of her hands, and then there's a white blur that runs past, grabbing Kid Flash and Avery. A voice tells Mina, "I am super sorry about the whole killing you thing. Can we be friends?" Once the blur stops, Kid Flash looks at August, asking, "Godspeed?" Also at that moment, Wally runs up shouting to Barry, "You gotta get the wand away from..." But Barry tells him, "No! My powers are the only thing that's going to save us." But while everyone tries to figure out what's going on, because now we have Barry yelling at Wally that he needs the lightning rod, and we have Mina with a negative Speed Force trying to fight against everyone, and on top of all of this, we have Godspeed, Mina calls to Grodd to listen to her thoughts. Send Multiplex. Seconds later, Multiplex appears to fight everyone, and Barry tells them all to keep him covered while he gets closer to the lightning rod. As Kid Flash, Avery, and Wally all begin to fight, one of them hits the real Multiplex, and suddenly all of the Multiplexes vanish. Kid Flash says, "Nice, one of us must have gotten the real one," and Avery tells him it was totally her. They all look back to see Mina and August fighting, and Kid Flash asks, "Which one do we fight?" Avery then says they should just watch. Hopefully they'll take out each other. And Wally then looks around asking where is Barry, but up ahead, Barry says that he's sorry. Wally tries to run at him, shouting not to do it, and Barry slams the wand into the lightning rod, telling them all, "This will save you all!" Wally screams don't, but after Barry pushes the wand all of the way down, lightning begins to strike and Barry Allen turns back into the fastest man alive. But that's when Grodd's voice tells him, "You're right where I wanted you. All alone. I took what made you special and you got what you needed, but both of us did. Bringing the wand back increased my mental connection to the Speed Force. Now I no longer need it to control the storm. I am the Speed Force Storm, and you have given me a gift beyond your wildest nightmares, Barry Allen." Barry begins to run towards Grodd, but as he gets closer, something shoots by, kicking him off his feet. Grodd tells him, "You risked all of it because you thought you were the only one to protect this city, and because of that, a new army has been made. And no matter how fast you are, you can't possibly fight it." Barry looks up and he sees Wally and the others, each of them stating, "Worship Grodd or die." With no other choice, Barry gets up and he begins to run, but in the back of his mind, Grodd continues to taunt him. "Barry Allen, you're so obsessed with protecting your life as the Flash that you didn't even think of who you would hurt in the process." Barry hears the voice coming out of Kid Flash, but as he turns, he sees nothing. He shouts, "Whatever game you're playing at, using my family is unforgivable." Avery runs by asking, "Is it because you're an expert at hurting your family?" And then August runs by telling him, "Grodd showed me what you really think of me. You think of me as nothing more than a killer." August then passes by a second time, punching Barry into a nearby truck. And Barry says, "It was wrong for me to break you out, but..." Together the four speedsters all yell at him, "Liar! The only thing that you were thinking about was that you needed your powers to save everyone." Barry tells everyone, "You have to fight back, you could win this together." And then Wally runs in telling him, "Stop lying. You didn't have any faith in us, or you would have trusted us. You thought only you could save the day." Wally begins to chase after Barry, and as Wally gets closer, Barry tells him, "You have to remember back to the day we met. Who was with you?" Wally begins to slow down, telling him, "Aunt Iris." And Barry tells him, "I know you're in there. You have to fight it, Wally." Wally stops, struggling to remain in control, and he says, "Grodd, whatever the lightning wand did made its connection to the Speed Force even stronger. He wants to see you truly defeated before he takes all the Speed Force for himself, Barry." As Wally goes on, he falls to his knees, shouting out in pain, and Barry tells him, "You need to keep fighting, Wally." Wally looks up, and through Wally, Grodd tells him, "You are such a fool." Wally grabs Barry by the leg and begins to drag him throughout the city, but as he's thrown back to the ground, Grodd tells him, "You have lost. And now, with the Flash's connection to the Speed Force, I am the Lord and Master of the Speed Force." Grodd digs his fist into the ground, going on, telling him, "Mina was the easiest to control. She had real anger." Barry gets back up, telling him, "This is between you and me." But before he can finish, Avery, August, Kid Flash, and Wally all start hitting him, shouting, "All you did was push us away." As the four go on, Barry doesn't fight back, and instead he accepts each blow. He falls to the ground, and Grodd shouts, demanding to know, "Why aren't you fighting back?" Barry sits back up and he tells him, "I thought you were inside my head, but no matter what I do, you'll never get into my heart. Because of that, I will never, ever raise a hand to my family." He stands back up, holding his arms out, telling him, "You're gonna have to kill me, so go ahead." Grodd begins to growl, asking, "This is how you want to win? A moral victory? Do you ask for death to mock me? Hide what could save you?" Barry tells him, "You won't just stop with the Speed Force. You hunger for more power, and you won't stop until you have the world under your fists." Grodd punches into Barry, asking, "You think you know me? You would kill for the family that you're pushing away? If I can't have the love of Gorilla City, then the Speed Force is a worthy substitute. Why use these gifts to run when you could use them to rule? It was a waste of your power." After knocking Barry away, Grodd begins to charge towards Barry as he stands back up. He looks back and he smiles while holding the lightning wand, and Grodd asks, "What are you doing?" And Barry tells him that he was collecting the pieces that he needed to adjust the lightning wand to create a very specific frequency in the Speed Force. And he's going to do what he was supposed to do from the start. As Grodd gets closer, Barry charges the wand with the Speed Force, and Grodd grabs onto it, feeling the Speed Force shoot throughout him. Barry then says, "I'm doing everything in my power to save you, Grodd." As an explosion goes off, Wally runs over, telling him, "Grodd had his teeth firmly clamped into our brains." And Barry pushes some rocks off of him, telling him, "Not anymore, he doesn't. You're all free. And for that, thank you." Wally asks, "What are you talking about? You just saved us all." Wally helps Barry up, and Barry tells him, "You were the Flash. I should have trusted you to handle this on your own, and you did." Wally says that he didn't, though. Iris is still missing. And Barry stops him, telling him, "We'll find her." August asks, "So, what did Barry do about the big ugly monkey?" Grodd weakly says, "He cured me. The disease is gone, but I am also powerless." Barry tells him that his mental powers were a part of his heritage. He'll still have those, but whatever connection he had to the Speed Force is gone. Forever. Now it's time to turn that lightning rod off and return to Gorilla City to enjoy your new lease on life, Grodd. Grodd yells as he hits the controls on his throne, and Mina shouts, "You can't let him turn it off! The lightning is the only thing keeping the storm in check!" The lightning rod begins to build up power, and Wally asks, "Do you feel it?" Barry tells him, "Yeah. The storm isn't just filled with Speed Force energy anymore. It's the negative Speed Force energy in there as well." The lightning rod begins to rip apart the city, and Grodd yells, "I would rather be dead than live without power, and I will take Central City with me." Barry quickly jumps up and begins to attack Grodd so that he can give the time to everyone else to evacuate the rest of the city. But while Barry yells to Wally to keep looking for Iris, Grodd slams him into the ground, shouting, "The city is lost! Further proof that you are nothing even with powers." Grodd begins to punch him over and over again, and just as he delivers the final blow, he feels something. Grodd looks back to see Barry, and Barry starts punching into him, asking, "How? I just saw you!" And Barry asks, "Saw me beaten to a pulp?" "Yeah. I used that connection that we made to make you see what you wanted. You killing the Flash." Barry reaches up to help Grodd up, and Grodd tells him, "Pull back your hand. I would rather be buried under my final triumph than live another day without the Speed Force." But just then lightning cracks, and 3 guards from Gorilla City appear, stating that he will not die here. It is their duty as the Gorilla City guards to arrest Grodd. His presence here has been known to them since the attack, but they couldn't enter until the lightning rod fell. Grodd will pay for his crimes, but not by a human's hand. They needn't to worry about Grodd ever again. Before Barry even has a chance to stop them, there's a loud crack, and another bolt of lightning strikes right where Barry is standing. At the last second, Wally pushes him out of the way, stating, "You should know better than standing still during a lightning storm. Oh, and don't worry about Iris. I found her." The rest of the speedsters run up, and August asks, "Did I really just see a bunch of flying monkeys, or am I finally losing it?" Avery then says that they got everyone out of the city, but Grodd is right. Central City is gone. Mina takes out her tablet and says that it's worse than that. The negative Speed Force is spreading fast. It'll soon overwhelm Central City and then Keystone. Barry tells her that there's only one choice: race around the city to let the Speed Force lock in with it and steal the speed from it. That should dissipate the storm. Mina says that this is the opposite of the Speed Force storm. That's why it's destroying everything instead of giving everyone powers. Even if they make it out alive, they could lose their powers for good. Barry looks at himself and says, "I didn't say we. I fought hard so I can get my powers back, but I was wrong. I don't need them. All I need is the Flash family. Now all of you run. Make sure that everyone is safe." Wally asks him, "Are you planning on doing what I think you're gonna do?" And Barry stops him and says, "There's a letter on my desk addressed to Iris. It's for both of you to read. Give it to her and tell her that I loved her." But as Barry finishes, he begins to run. Wally catches up to him yelling, "This world needs Barry Allen. I need Barry Allen. Don't you get that? We need you to be the fastest man alive. If running into the storm is the only way to save the world, then you're not doing it alone." As the other speedsters start to run up, August then runs with them, asking, "Let's take bets as to who's the fastest." And Barry tells him, "Green Lantern and Green Arrow used to take bets, but the truth is, we're fastest when we run together." All 6 speedsters begin to run to contain the storm. And as Barry said, the storm slowly begins to dissipate. Once it finally fades, Wally yells, "Yeah, it worked! Go Team Flash!" And Barry says, "People call me a dork." As everyone stops, they all begin to use their powers, and everyone says, "Yep, still got him." And Kid Flash looks around asking, "Where'd Godspeed go?" And Mina says that she saw him disappear into the storm as it was dying. But as she says that, Barry takes off running, and Kid Flash asks where he's going. Before Kid Flash could follow, Wally stops him and tells him, "Hold on, I know exactly where he's going." A few seconds later, Barry pushes himself through the crowd of evacuated people calling out for Iris. Once Iris hears her voice, she runs up hugging him, but in another place, in another time. A man is looking at a statue of Barry and Iris kissing, and he says that the letter that he left was very touching. Glad the museum kept it in their archives. He really believed he was going to die in that storm, huh? That was the only difference between him and Wally. He knew that one day he would lose. But he never knew me as Hunter Zolomon. He was never my Flash. But here, in the 25th century, I've studied the history of the Flash, all of them. I know his profile better than anyone, even Eobard Thawne, and I can see the cracks in his legacy, and how to turn those cracks into the end of the Flash family as I bring them to war. And there you have it. Godspeed is back, and now he's gone. Next week, we're going to bring you the Flash War Prelude, and you're going to get a little bit more on Godspeed, but I feel like they're finally building him up for something truly epic, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But first, we have to do the incredibly epic Flash War, which is coming up very, very soon, and it's truly, truly awesome. If you want to find out what's happening in Flash War week to week as Dan and I read it, go check us out on twitch.tv/EligibleMonster. Every Sunday, we do Comicstorian Weekly. It's a little show that we do where we review the comic books that came out that week. Link is right down below. Please, we really appreciate you coming to hang out with us. Flash!